Hey guys, I'm HP, this is Dr. Pink, and today's topic is Guitar Secrets Distortion. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe to my channel, hit the notification button, but also join the HPCrazy Guitar Academy with a free member account or a premium member account to download all files which come along with each tutorial. So this tutorial I consider a must-have tutorial because I'm talking about distortion, and that reminds me to my very last guitar lesson I had in my life. It was during my studies. I studied music at the time. It was Swiss music university, and we were forced to have a lesson with a few teachers. So I needed to have one lesson with another teacher than the one I had before, so I just picked one, and then the guy knew he cannot teach me anything anymore. Then he said, okay, let's try something. Let me see how you sound on this and this. And we were talking about sound. He said, to get a proper sound, you need to sound good on cheap equipment with no effects, because a lot of people talk about effects, especially on distortion, and we had really bad guitar amps there in that school. So I select a cheap $200 for now it's a Black Star tube head, 1 watt tube head, and it's a cheap one. So the trick is switch off all effects, even the reverb, and then start to create music with that. So the trick is switch off all effects, put in the distortion as now, and I really recommend to have a tube distortion. If not, the effects which I'm showing here are not going to be so extreme, but they also work there. But the difference between a tube distortion and a transistor distortion is that a tube distortion is a little bit more dynamic. What does that mean? If you put the volume down, let's take a chord C as an example. C still sounds a little bit, and it sounds more cleaner than when you put up the volume. Then you have maximum distortion. So that's the first thing. Just check how you can work with the pickups, how it sounds with different volume settings. Okay, in this case I have a track here. It's really simple. It's E minor to D5, A5, just to keep it simple. We want to try to get it sounding just with no effects. And E5. Okay, now you notice there was a difference between the three rows. As I said, it's E5, D5, A5. It's not much to explain. Now the trick is the dynamics and also the damping technique. It's the chords, power chords are really simple, but you need to have a proper damping technique that you can be able to have different types of attacks. You can attack soft. Or let me switch to the low distortion, that you see there it's more obvious than here. So this is max distortion on the channel 2. It's not really a nice distortion, isn't it? But when you put the volume down, it nearly sounds clean. D5 and proper damping technique that you're able to play either soft or hard. When you attack hard, you really go through the strings. See? Now suddenly this sucker starts to sound. Even if you just play like this, or the tone itself is really ugly, but it's, and also make the vibrato here, you know. This way can bring some more dynamic shift in the sound, okay? D5 is really simple. 3rd fret, 2nd fret, play the middle 4 strings, and there really proper damping of the low E string, high E string, and then you can attack soft. Sounds nearly clean. If you attack hard, it sounds more aggressive. And if you make this this whammy effect with your neck, sounds even cooler. If you go on this pickup, same effect, or attack hard, soft, nearly sounds clean, hard. A5 the same. You have to have the proper thing, damping technique here. Index finger clean here, that the B string is damped, that you really can attack the 3 strings which are needed. That's the main key secret of playing distorted guitar. It's, first of all, you need to have a distortion which you can display dynamics. Then you need to grab the chords in a way that you can play dynamic, you know, as on the A5. Also work with the pickups. Let me put the neck pickup on low volume, maybe a little bit more. And here is a max volume. So it's one guitar, a cheap distortion, a backing track. I play for soft, or even you can play a chord. Let's see how that works. Oops. Now the difference was a little bit too big. So you really, you can do it with the pickups, with the volume, or whatever. I mean, you have many possibilities to have an influence on your sound. You have the root signal from the amp, which has to be really just one signal, no effects, and then really work out the stuff and let it ring. And let it ring is the next keyword. Also listen to the overtones, how they come. You hear them coming in the upper position, the overtones. You hear them, how they come. The more distortion you have, of course, the more the overtones come. So let me go to the second channel now with more distortion, that you see that with the overtones. You hear them coming. Now try to play with the overtones. The overtones are also part of the signal. The signal of the distortion itself is really an ugly signal, and you waste many hours on buying extreme equipment, try effects, and at the end you overload your guitar with too many effects. But the main signal is happening here on the guitar. And maybe the best which works out for you is that you imagine the guitar is basically just a broom with 6, how we call this, in German is Drähte, just strings of metal, and it's not a guitar, it's just something which cannot sound, and so you have to make the sound, you know. Also the signal itself is just like, that's how the signal is. See, but with, now it sounds, or see how the overtones come. And if you put this in front of your sound and not the effects, if you add effects, and of course it's cooler, but if you really have control over your tone, that's the key to the qualm in rock guitar, you know, guys. Let the overtones come. And the other thing, what you can do, what is really important, as I already said, the proper damping technique is really important, because when I play the D5, I really have an extremely proper damping technique that I really can go through the strings with the pick. It's really a hard attack to the strings or a soft attack, which makes it sound different, or hard attack. There's a huge difference in attacking technique from this just sweeping slightly over the strings or really razoring through. That's the key of the really aggressive rocks, and it's not so much the distortion. And I mean, the more distortion gain you have, of course, the more it bites, but if you don't have the proper technique, it will not really help. I mean, I go back to the lower channel now, and there it's more obvious. Okay, but here we don't have so many overtones, so that's probably the difference, you know. But the technique is the same, okay? And that really makes the big difference. I sometimes just sit in the studio, even after playing guitar for so many years, I just sit here and just listen how the tone develops. Now, since we practiced this, I'm gonna add some reverb, and as you're gonna see, it will sum up the whole thing, which we done extremely. But if the main signal is not cool, the reverb doesn't help anything. It just blurs up everything. You know, if you play blurry, the reverb will blur it up more. If you play clear, the reverb will make your sound more wide. That's really the trick. Even, I mean, with soft distortion, the reverb comes out more. I'm going to show you. And with hard distortion or more gain, it just widens the sound. You don't really hear the reverb anymore, but it widens up your sound. And then you add it with the track. It's really cool. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is only on chords. The proper damping techniques and work out on the dynamics. When it comes to lead guitar or just little single note lines, again the same thing. If you just play a note, let me switch off the reverb again. So, really dry signal. Sounds like shit if you just do this. See? I've seen many students, they have exactly that problem. They have a good equipment, but it sounds like this. The reason is because they don't do the proper work here. Again, the vibrato makes the overtones come. You need to get to the overtones. The overtones is the path to the quam in a distorted lead guitar. See how they come? Through the vibrato, so you always have to do something. Depending on your position and your vibrato technique, I mean, this is not about vibrato technique now, but really with vibrato, also with pinch harmonics. It's again, pinch harmonics create overtones, and the overtones make you the sound. And with the pinch harmonic techniques, you can control how many overtones you want to have, and you can also create a dynamic motion. See? And that's the main key to the whole thing. See? Each note you're playing, try to switch off all effects, not try to, switch off all effects, and just try to create a nice sound only with your main distortion you have. Again, the overtones are the ones which can. Okay, let's do that. You can play with the track, just simple. The overtones make the difference. And again, it's your dynamic playing, the way you attack, hard or soft, which make the difference. And I really recommend that you invest quite a lot of time instead of trying to play fast, which many players try to do. It's cool to play fast, nothing against that. But if you don't control your tone and your distortion, the playing fast doesn't make any sense, because, distortion just sums up what goes in, and if sh goes in, sh comes out, you know what I mean? But if you can control what you're doing, and then with the combination with the chords, with the really basic sound, just distortion, no reverb, you're already there where the quam is. And so on. And you can practice it with a backing track like this one here, or just without any backing track. Just try to listen to the sound and listen how the distortion and the overtones develop. And that's the whole thing. And now if you add effects now, just reverb as an example, it's already going to sound way much better. But if, as I said, if sh goes in, sh comes out. This case, it doubles up what, well, reverb not so much. And so on. That's the main thing you can do. I mean, these are just 3 chords. Rock is always simple, you know, 3, 4 chords. Some complex rock tunes work. They shift in harmonies and stuff like that. But it's what you make out of your distortion sound with the power chords. That's basically the thing which makes the big difference, you know. And as I said, controlling the dynamics with attacking soft, hard, and proper damping technique, that helps a lot on the chords. And also try to control your overtones with just, and also with the harmonics, with the vibrato and the pinch harmonics. And that's then the way to the quam. Yo, that was about distortion, as there was a lot to talk about. Even it's, you think, whoa, what does this guy want to talk about? Distortion now. But honestly, this one lesson which I had, my very last guitar lesson I had in my life, helped me more than 2 years of practicing scales and runs and stuff, because I was trying to get some kind of a sound which I never reached. And then I switched my attention to this, and that changed everything. And I really recommend to you, also switch your attention to this, and once you have it done, then you can go back to the runs and all the scales and whatever you are practicing, and then suddenly things start to sound. And before, it was just kind of a noise in the room, which probably bugged the flies in the room that dropped from the ceiling or whatever. You know what I mean? So, and that's, even it's something which you probably think, oh, what is this guy talking about? I cannot highlight it enough how important this is. As I'm saying, I'm playing guitar now really a long time, and still now sometimes I just sit here, and when I want to check how this distortion works, I mean, I have many different types of distortion here. For today I select a really a basic one with no, just a head or a tube head. I just sit here and play and listen how the overtones develop, and then I can put that into my playing, you know. Then you start to play different instead of you know see this little effect. It's always the same chord, but these little things make the big difference, guys. Yo, I think that's all. If you want to download this backing track to practice this stuff, I know I won't provide tabs for this because it's too simple. It's available in the HPCrazy Guitar Academy. Please join there if you have any questions, or if you want to show your sound, how you sound, maybe you need an advice, what else can be done. We can post it there and let me know and see if I can make some corrections on your sound. Yo, that's all what me and Dr. Pink have to say for today. So we're saying goodbye, guys.